Happy Booktober! Welcome to a new video. I am ShanaJaye, one half of this channel. My husband is Eric and we are Team Shanik. So this video is going to be all about books, okay? This month is Booktober, and typically when you have a video title like that, Booktober, Vlogtober, Vlogmas, that means that you're gonna get a video every single day of the month. Well, we're not gonna do that with the books. We are doing Podtober on my husband's channel or on Team Shanik Extra, where we do a podcast every single day in October. So if you want to check that out, that link will be down below. So we can't do all the things, okay? So what we will do is upload a book theme video every Tuesday in the month of October. So in this video, we are just talking about the books that I'm going to read that I've selected for the month of October. And up next, hubby is talking about the books that he has been reading and will read going forward. Hubby is more into nonfiction books and he dibbles and dabbles in fiction. That's his jam. And I'm more into fiction books, and then I'll dibble and dabble into nonfiction books. That's my jam. Let me know down below, do you like more nonfiction, fiction, memoirs? What type of book genre do you like? So he is up first, and then I will be up next, and then we will continue from there. We'll be reading all week, obviously, and kind of just talking about how we feel about certain books, probably mostly me. Let me know what's on your reading list currently, and do you have any cozy vibe books, thrillers, mysteries, or just, you know, that fall autumn vibe book? And I'll see if I can add that to my list as well. We want to, you know, just share together in reading, because reading is fun and mental. All right, so I just wanted to open up this vlog and say happy fall. I hope your first week has been good, and we hope you enjoy this video. All right, bye.
Hi guys, it's your boy E, and I just wanted to come on and just give you a little update on what's been going on with me. So as you know, wifey has really gotten into the booktube world. So when you're married and your spouse gets into something, you're dragged into it. You are like pulled into it. Now, not saying that I've been pulled in kicking and screaming, because I've always said I wanted to read more, but she's kind of making it happen, right? So I'll go through the books that I've went through since she started, the things she's put me onto, and things that I have yet to read. So the first one is Atomic Habits. I think I mentioned this one. Wifey, hold on, this is wifey calling me. Hello?
Hey babe, real quick, what was that scripture that you had me read last night, Hannah's prayer? Because I looked it up just now and it gave me a whole bunch of other stuff, but not with what I recall reading.
Yeah, it was in 1 Samuel. It's like in chapter 2.
1 Samuel chapter 2. I'm gonna put this in the group.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So yeah, Atomic Habits. So wifey does a good job of just helping me navigate like the corporate world. I'm in a different season of that journey right now. Still in a leadership type role, but no direct reports. So I'm able to just kind of be a little freer in a sense. I won't go too deep into that. But another book that she wants me to read is called Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. And there is a TED Talk on this that I think I've seen before, if this is the same author, Susan Cain. So I imagine it'll have some nuggets and some things that I can kind of commiserate with. And that's the one thing about these types of books, that I don't need a book to commiserate with, or a book that kind of co-signs how I already feel or the things I already know. I need something that's gonna help give me actions to help improve my situation, you know what I mean? So as a person in corporate who is an introvert, there is a such thing called introvert bias. A lot of times the loudest person, the most confident person is the person that, you know, gets the accolades, gets the attention, gets certain projects. It's a form of favoritism and bias that people are unaware of, right? So that's something for me to read, to kind of look at that. A book that I kind of picked out when we went into Barnes & Noble on one occasion. Wife was like, get you something. And I kind of jokingly pointed out this book, and she's like, I'm gonna be mad if you don't get it. When wifey does that, it's like, you know, she's playing that card. So she's basically giving me no choice. So as a joke, But also, as you all know, there's always a little bit of truth in a joke. I picked up the Quitter's Manifesto, which is, you can imagine what it's about. Quit a job you hate for the work you love. Just to level set, you guys know we're like at about 1,300 subscribers. When you're a YouTuber and you still work a normal 9 to 5, you never know who's watching. But I can guarantee you that like nobody from my office, except maybe 1 or 2 people, watch this. And the folks that do know that it's like tongue in cheek right now. But all that to say is, definitely don't hate the job, but I'm in this season, especially with us trying to advance our spiritual walk, where I want to make sure that I'm doing things in God's will and that I'm doing things in God's purpose. And one thing that I say about the work I'm doing is, if I didn't outwardly, vocally proclaim that I'm a Christian, would people know it by the way I behave at work? So it's that whole working unto God type thing where, you know, you want to have people look at your walk and look at what you do and know unequivocally that you're a follower of Jesus Christ. So my challenge in this season, again, is the work that I'm doing isn't very exciting. The things that have happened around the company are deflating, and I'm just trying to like muscle through it. I'm trying to use discipline to muscle through it, but there's no joy. So when people see people who aren't experiencing a certain level of joy, not happiness, but joy, when I'm at home, I'm like, oh, I'm so joyful, I'm so thankful, this, that, and the other, because I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, but I don't think I convey that at work. And that's the problem. If you don't convey that where people see you, then I think that's an issue. But anyway, this isn't a religious book. This is just, you know, giving examples and thought process, and again, practical steps on how to kind of move into something that you're more passionate about. Like, what are some of the indicators that let you know that, hey, it's time to just like pull the trigger on this? So almost finished with this. Not saying I'm quitting anything if someone does find this channel from the job. Not saying that at all, but you know, it's good to know what the next steps are if a season is to come to an end. Seasons change. So another book wifey has bought for me is The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. Leadership Made Simple but Not Easy. You know, I'll let you know when I get there on how this is, and if it's able to kind of help me with some of the things I am challenged with as a leader, as a introvert who's also a leader, who's also, you know, someone who tries to teach, who tries to be a servant leader, but sometimes because I'm more of a disciplinarian type person, or a person who wants things to be done a certain way because it's the path of least resistance and it removes headaches down the road, sometimes people can misconstrue that or take that as being militaristic or being a dictator or things like that. Like, I always leave room for another option, but when another option isn't presented, right? If I say, hey team, we need to do this. This is how we should do it. This is how we're gonna do it, unless you have another suggestion. Like, simple as that. 9 times out of 10, no one raises their hand with another suggestion. And maybe 8 times out of 10, people come back with more of the, why can't we just keep doing things the way they are? You clearly explain why we can't keep navigating and operating the way we have been, but people still kind of want to bug. So you have to explain why something is necessary and why things are important. So there's this other concept called the speed of trust that I've always been a proponent of. It's hard to gain that trust. So maybe some of these books will kind of help me in that area, because when you trust someone to the point where, all right, I know this person is a mentor. I know we both work in this corporate environment. If they're asking me to do something, it's for the whole ship to move in a certain direction, right? They're not doing anything that's only for their benefit. It's for the whole team to move in a certain direction. They have my best interests at heart. They're not doing anything that they themselves wouldn't also do. So that's the speed of trust. Like, the time it takes for, let's just talk about me, for my boss to ask me to do something and me to just do it is like that. Whereas for other people, and in some cases when I was in leadership, when I asked someone to do something, it's like a whole 2-3 day workshop Teams call to explain why I am asking you to do something, which costs time, and as you all know, time is money. So the speed of trust. Anyway, last but not least, this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is a oldie but a goodie. This is actually a borrowed book that I need to return, but since I'm in this state of reading these things to kind of help me, I think I'm gonna finish this one. I can't remember if I have finished it before, but it's one of those things where since I don't vividly remember finishing it, I feel like I didn't. So I feel like I want to go back and read it just to make sure like it's in there. So anyway, those are all the, like, you know, career, habit, leadership, self-helpy type books that are on the docket. 3 of them recommended by my wife, and 2 of them I need to kind of get back into. The only fiction book that I have is Black Book. I think wifey showed you when we bought this, when she bought this for me. And the story behind this has nothing to do with books. It's me always saying, hey, we live on the black side of town, and on this side of town there's like one Starbucks for like, I'll go ahead and say one Starbucks for like a 20-mile radius. And if anybody's been any place other than the black side of town, you know that that's hard to freaking believe. Like, you go up the street, let's just call out like Holcomb Bridge Road or something if you in Atlanta, on the north side around Alpharetta. You can be on one street on Holcomb Bridge, or one point in Holcomb Bridge, go down like 4 blocks, and then there's another Starbucks, and then you could go to like a shopping center or something, and then there's a Starbucks inside the Barnes and Noble. So you have like 3 in like a 2-mile radius or something like that, or a 5-mile radius. But us, you know, we're underserved. So anyway, the point of that rant is why, you know, why don't we have people who can invest in us? You know, our dollars are green just like everybody else's dollars. But then on the flip side, like, it's an opening for entrepreneurs, black-owned businesses to come in and fill that space. And I said all the time, like, if there was a Black Bucks over by where I stay, over by the mall, I would go to Black Bucks all day, every day, okay? So we saw the title called Black Buck and started reading it. Haven't gotten that far, but from what I've seen, it's fairly interesting. It's about this guy who works at a Starbucks who's kind of scouted by this executive type who recognized that he's pretty smart, he's savvy, he's like a manager at the Starbucks, and that's as far as I've gotten. So we'll see what happens. So that's the only fiction book I'm reading. And then from here we go into the more spiritual things. You know, I've talked about Unseen Realm, like that's my 3rd time reading it. It's a great book. But I got More Than a Carpenter here. This was something that we thought would be good for my father, because he's a carpenter. You know, he did the table. If you've been to the shop, like 80% of all the furniture and all the stands and all of the stuff that you know, we have displayed, or we use as displays for the plants my dad built with his own hands. So this was recommended by the person at Barnes and Noble when we were talking about my dad, and we were talking about, you know, getting him something around Father's Day. They didn't have it at the time, but my wife ordered it and got it. But this is more for, you know, a skeptic or a non-believer. So I'm reading this to kind of bolster some of my knowledge and some of the things I could use, if you want to use the word apologetics, but some of the things I could use when confronted with someone who's kind of skeptical about the gospel or the Bible or things like that. So this is what this is more so about. Next up is Killing Kryptonite. So this book I've had for years, but the Spirit finally led me to just open it up, read it, and just knock it out. And this book is about how a society, how a community, and how a people can be set back, disrupted, undermined, weakened by practiced sin, by idolatry. This is a book that'll convict you. This is a book that kind of lays it all out there. It gives biblical examples of times in the Bible where, you know, people, even though they walk with God, or they proclaimed God verbally with their mouth, they weren't obeying God, basically. They weren't following his commandments. They weren't trying to be on the trajectory of sanctification to become more holy, to become more like God. And for us as believers in Jesus Christ, a lot of times, and it says it in the book, we'll say the sinner's prayer, but then go back to our practice sin no matter what it is, because we believe that God's grace is sufficient, and it is. But there are several scriptures in the Bible. It's like, get away from me, I never knew you, because you're not pursuing God intimately. And God says, like, those who love me, obey me. My sheep hear my voice and obey, like scriptures like that. So it's about obedience. It's about like kind of tugging at your own heartstring to say, if you know you're doing something that's not pleasing to God, ask yourself why, and ask yourself what are the real ramifications of continuing to do that, because you can't claim ignorance. You can't claim ignorance. So keep pushing forward, you guys. There's a stronghold. You know, ask God for strength, ask God for endurance to persevere, to break the hold over you, and keep walking towards holiness. You know, God's perfection. We'll never get there, but that's the journey. That's the whole point. So with that said, this next book right here is called The Bait of Satan, from the same author as Killing Kryptonite, John Bevere. And it says, living free from the deadly trap of offense. So you guys, this is so true. Like the way Christians, even Christians, hold on to offense. I'm so guilty of this. Like the Bible says, you know, before you come to me in prayer, make sure you are not angry, and make sure you reconcile with your neighbor. Like the Bible says that. How many times do we pray with anger on our heart that, you know, the person that did me wrong is, you know, the righteous indignation prayer to God for justice to happen? Like, no, God wants you to reconcile when you can. God wants you to not be easily offended. God wants you to find joy in his word and let him be the judge. So one of the things too, like, that should be considered when it comes to offense is like intent. One of the things me and my wife are good about is, you know, separating the two. Like there are people who are obviously out to hurt you, even when we argue with one another. Like she knows that when I'm saying something, my intent is never to like cut deep and hurt or to be like malicious about it. I might be a jerk about it, but me being a jerk is a personality flaw. It's not a heart flaw. You know what I mean? So again, I'm excited to read this one. I actually watched a mini sermon on it that he did with the same title, The Bait of Satan. But the spirit of offense, you guys, it's one of the things that creates enmity between friends, between family. But always ask yourself, when someone says something or does something, think to yourself, did they do this on purpose? Did they set out to hurt you? You know what I mean? And then maybe go from there, and that might help you reconcile. So that's it. As you can see, a lot to read, a lot to get through. I should finish up the Quitter's Manifesto. I could finish it up today if I really tried. But it's one of those on and off again books, because again, I'm in a weird season in terms of my career, and I don't even know what the next move is, but whatever happens, like we let God do it. One thing I did hear from a pastor, one of our pastors, was it's easier for God to steer a car that's moving. So my problem is right now I'm just where I am. Like the job I have, the things I'm doing, it's not secure. I won't say it's secure, because anything can happen. You know how corporate is. They could be some shady. They can surplus you at any given moment. But what purpose, what drive, what goal am I excited about? You know what I mean? Like, and it's never gonna, for me, it's never gonna be money. It's never gonna be title. So I'm just looking for the newest challenge that I can take on and be excited about. I would be remiss if I did mention that I have completed a 400-page manuscript, so I do like to write. That manuscript in and of itself has always been a work in progress. I did put out some, you know, letters to publishers, got a few bites, but nothing ever really materialized at that point. There was a phase where I wanted to self-publish, and that's why the YouTube channel came into effect, dedicated to my writing and this book in particular, because I wanted at that time to build up a subscriber base. But you guys can go on that channel and see I got like 79 subscribers. So, you know, it never really kicked off from that standpoint, and then ever since then it's just been a whole bunch of random things. But anyway, all that to say is I like to write. It's one of those things I wish I had more time to do, and I wish I had that same like fervor and fire that I did when I completed the manuscripts. Because you guys, I did that from like sophomore year to like 2 years post-graduation was the timeline it took me to write it, because it was an off and on thing, and certain things would happen to me in my life, and it was just like ooh, 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 ooh. Not saying it's great, but that was the process. So wifey wanted me to mention that for some strange reason, to connect me to books and why this shouldn't be weird for me to have all these books that she's throwing at me. So wifey, they know, all right? So I hope you, sometimes you just gotta obey. You just gotta do what you're told. All right, talk to y'all later.
Hi guys, so I'm back. I hope you guys enjoyed all of hubby's books and the interest that he has in each of them. I hope you guys took some notes and added some to your TBR, and any opinions on anything that he shared, please comment down below and let's have a discussion about those things. So let's go ahead and quickly get started with my October TBR, or my October reads, because I don't want to make this video too long for you guys. We hope that you stay through the entire thing. And actually, if you've made it this far and you watch hubbies, go ahead and drop us an orange heart or some leaves down in the comments. All right, let's get started. So first up, I actually just picked this book up from Barnes & Noble. I was looking for Pumpkin Patch Shop, and I don't know if it's the Pumpkin Patch Shop or what have you, but I'll have it here on the screen. And it's really about a lady who owns a plant shop, I believe, and she falls in love with a local farmer. I went in for that one, but then I was having difficulty finding it. So in looking, I came across this book, Leaving Atlanta. Now, this is by Tayari Jones. It's called Leaving Atlanta, and I don't know where this evidently came out after The American Marriage. I love that book. That was actually, I think, our first read in a book club that I'm in. I've been in for 4 years, I think. I think that was one of our first books. So this is from that author. She's a New York Times bestselling author, and I really enjoyed that book. So I figured, you know what, this book here will be just as good, hopefully. So let me read to you. The AC just went off. Y'all know that's loud, and I never noticed that it's on until it goes off. All right, let's see what it says. It's the end of summer in Atlanta, and I felt like appropriate time to read this book. And 5th grade classmates Tasha Baxter, Rodney Green, and Octavia Harrison will discover back to school means facing everyday challenges in a new world of safety lessons, terrified parents, and constant fear. Set during the 2-year nightmare in which Atlanta's black children were vanishing and 29 would be found murdered by 1982. Leaving Atlanta portrays one of the darkest tragedies in American history through the eyes of 3 unforgettable children. Here are all the hurts and little wins, the all too sudden changes, and the merciless outside forces that can sweep the young into adulthood and forever shape their lives. Wow, that took a lot. I am interested. So I actually started reading this book yesterday. Y'all, I'm literally reading like 4 books right now. And how I have found that when I read multiple books, I think I thought I was a mood reader, but I don't know if I'm a mood reader. I read based on the books or the situation at hand. So when I'm around the shop, watering the plants, repotting plants, or I'm at home folding clothes or doing something that requires my hands but I'm moving around, I turn on an Audible. So this book I bought yesterday. Did I buy this yesterday or the day before? And it's the September House. So y'all, this book has already started out crazy, but let me go ahead and just read the summary. So it says, a woman is determined to stay in her dream home even after it becomes a haunted nightmare in this compulsively readable, twisty, and layered debut novel. When I tell y'all, I read the prologue. The only reason why I did not finish the prologue is because a customer came in, and it was toward the end of the day. And when one came in, I think another one came in, and when the next thing you knew, I needed to like do my end of the day stuff, and I left. And I didn't take it home with me because I was going to do this video today. Y'all, I just realized I didn't turn off the music. Hold on. Okay. When Margaret and her husband Hal bought the large Victorian house on Hawthorne Street for sale at a surprisingly reasonable price, they couldn't believe they finally had a home of their dream. Then they discovered the hauntings. Every September, the walls would drip. The ghosts of former inhabitants appear, and all of them are terrified of something that lurks in the basement. Most people would flee. Margaret is not most people. Yes, okay, we don't like bullies, and ghosts are bullies. You know, we don't believe in ghosts over here, but you get what I'm saying. After 4 years, Margaret has learned how to live with the house. It's her house, after all. But Hal can't take it anymore, and he leaves abruptly. Now he's not returning calls, and their daughter, Catherine, who knows nothing about the hauntings, arrives, intent on looking for her missing father. To make things worse, September has just begun, and with every attempt Margaret and Catherine make to find Hal, the hauntings grow more harrowing, because there are some secrets the house needs to keep. Can we say let's go ahead and enter October? Okay, but we're gonna read this first. I love it. Okay, so the next book's actually one on Instagram. The Instagram handler is Read with Ree. So if you're here watching this video, homegirl, hey girl, hey. So it's The Club. Now I didn't know anything about this book, to be honest with you. She posted it that she was having a giveaway. Enter. I did. She did the little spinny thing. I won. Yes. So it says everyone's dying to join. Is it on the back or is it in the child? I be having to learn. Sometimes it be on the inside flap, sometimes it's on the back. Most of the time on the, no, it could be either place. So it says everyone is dying to join. The home group is a glamorous collection of it. Oh no, wait a minute, this isn't it. Oh yeah. The home group is a glamorous collection of exclusive celebrity members club dotted across the globe. The most spectacular of all is Island Home, a closely guarded ultra luxurious resort just off the English coast, and its 3-day launch party is easily the most coveted A-list invite of the decade. But behind the scenes, tensions are at a breaking point. The ambitious and expensive project has pushed the home group's CEO and his long-suffering team to their absolute limits. All of them have something to hide, and that's before the beautiful people with their own ugly secrets even set foot on the island. As tempers fray and behaviors worsens, as things get more sinister by the hour and the bodies pile up, some of the Island Home's members will begin to wish they had never been invited. Because at this club, if your name is on the list, you're not getting out. Yes. I don't know if you guys watch our vlogs. If you're here for the books, I mentioned in last week's vlog that, you know, we're Christian. Okay, we are Christian. But your girl loves the October vibes. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay? Because we don't celebrate Halloween, but I love a good mystery, suspenseful book or movie. I have a lot of like childhood movies, you know, that I watch during October. That's the only time I allow myself to, you know, just get a little sometimes, like, you know, just certain shows. Like as soon as October 1st hits, when I tell you I'm gonna be one of the first that hits Halloween, I'm just saying. And what I like is last year on Halloween, they actually categorized the level or the intensity of scary movies. Like you could sort, or you could, yeah, you could sort. You know, do you want family friendly, horror, spooky, you know, maybe PG horror, spooky, PG-13 horror, spooky, rated R horror spooky. You get what I'm saying? I loved that because some things is just way too out there. Like I was saying in the vlog, I don't need spirits coming out of the water and okay, it's levels. Okay, it's levels. So it's just like in the book community, you can read a romance book with no spice. That's the best example I can give. So the next book, I'm actually doing a buddy read with this book on Instagram, and that's The Coworker, okay? And this is by Frida McFadden. She writes so well. So side note, I did start reading Never Lie. Wait a minute, am I doing, no, I'm doing Never Lie as a buddy read. So I'm listening to that through my local library. I started listening to that yesterday too. Oh my God. So I'm listening to that. Okay, focus. If y'all want to see or hear all of the extra things I'm listening to, watch the vlogs, okay? But this is October. Okay, so the Co-Worker. So this says 2 women, an office filled with secrets, one terrible crime that can't be taken back. Dawn is strange. At least everyone thinks so at Vixt, the nutritional supplement company where Dawn works as an accountant. She never says the right things. She has no friends, and she is always at her desk at precisely 8:45 a.m. So when Dawn doesn't show up at the office one morning, her co-workers Natalie, beautiful, popular, top sales rep 5 years running, is surprised. Then she receives an unsettling anonymous phone call that changes everything. It turns out Dawn wasn't just an awkward outsider, she was being targeted by someone close. And now Natalie is irrevocably tied to Dawn as she finds herself caught in a twisted game of cat and mouse that leaves her wondering, who's the real victim? But one thing is incredibly clear, somebody hated Dawn enough to kill. The Co-Worker is a tense, unputdownable thriller from New York Times bestselling author Frida McFadden. The next one is another one, The Locked Door. Okay, I have been hearing good stuff about this too. Some doors are locked for a reason. While 11-year-old Nora Davis was up in her bedroom doing homework, she had no idea her father was killing women in the basement until the day the police arrived at her front door. Decades later, Nora's father is spending his life behind bars, and Nora is a successful surgeon with a quiet, solitary existence. Nobody knows about her past, and she'll do anything to keep it that way. Then, one of her young female patients is murdered, killed in the same unique and horrifying manner that her father used to kill his victims. Somebody knows who Nora is. Somebody wants her to take the fall for the unthinkable crime, but she's not like her father. The police can't pin anything on her as long as they don't look in her basement. Yes, okay. Okay, next, so we're gonna just go ahead and fly through all of these. So this is the Thursday Murder Club. Okay, this right here, there are a lot of books to follow after this. I don't know how many, but I think at least 6, okay? But I'm into it, okay? Someone else, because I'm watching so much booktube, you guys, I don't know who's who, not for real, like I can't remember the names of where I got basically a summary of this book, but I knew I put it on my wants to read in my Goodreads. And by the way, if you want to follow me on Goodreads, that'll be listed below. But it says, don't trust anyone, including the 4, yeah, I don't even know what that says, in a piece. So one thing that drew me to this book, my husband is going to love this, because I love old people. When I tell y'all I love me some old people, I love me some old people. I love the elderly. I love old people. I've always loved old people. When I was young, I loved old people. And let me not say old. Well, no, old, elderly, seasoned, whatever you want to call it. I feel like when God has blessed you with age, you are amazing. You're just amazing. I feel like you are amazing to him, because every day that he gives us the opportunity to wake up is a blessing. And when you are older and you're making it and you are breathing each day and you are able to give wisdom and you're able to, you know what I'm saying? I love that. I just love it. So my husband just says, like, I love the Golden Girls. I love old people, period. It doesn't matter. On television, in person, I send him old videos on, you know, old people videos on Instagram all the time. Like, I just love old people so much. I think they are so sweet. They're so cute. I want to protect them. Like, they need to be protected. I mean, have I said enough? Anyway, so you'll see what I'm saying when I read this. In a peaceful retirement village, 4 unlikely friends meet, okay, 4 and Golden Girls, meet weekly in the Jigsaw room to discuss unsolved crimes. Together they call themselves the Thursday Murder Club. Oh my God, that is so cute. When a local developer is found dead with a mysterious photograph left next to the body, the friends suddenly find themselves in the middle of their first live case. They might be senior citizens, but they are clever than most. I mean, that's all I'm saying, okay? As the bodies begin to pile up, can our unorthodox but brilliant gang catch the killer before it's too late? I'm just saying. Do you guys watch Murderers in the Building? Murderers in the Building? Leave it down below. Love that show. I don't know about this season. Don't know about this season, but I love the show. And actually this season is the last season, if I'm not mistaken. All right, you guys, we're almost done. 3 more books to go. So this book is actually about to be, it's an adaptation. It's about to be, oh, this thing is big. A movie, I think it comes out in October. We saw this trailer when we were watching Sound. I'll leave it up here, but it's a movie where this guy goes to save a brother and sister in another country, but he's a Christian, and like that's his calling in life. I don't remember the name of it, but it'll be here. So this was a trailer, and it looked really good. When I saw that it was a book, I was like, you know what? I want to read the book first. And are you that type of person, like if you know that a movie has a book or a book has a movie, do you like to read the book before you see the movie, or does it matter? Because here's the thing. We just finished watching, Shirley, season 1 of The Other Black Girl, and I just finished that book as well. And honestly, that book, I did not really get into the book until 60 or 70% of reading the book. It was such a slow burn. When I tell you it was such a slow burn, the only thing that made me complete that book was that I knew that the series was out and I wanted to finish that first. Similarly, the series is the same way. And I have watched some vloggers who are watching it right now in real time, and they literally said the same thing. And I was like, thank you, I'm not the only one. Now, the person didn't read the book, but what they said about the series is like, they're 3 or 4 episodes in and they still don't know what's going on. That's how I felt about the book. Like, I'm reading the book and I'm just like, what is going on in this book? Like, how much setup do you need? Usually the first 100 pages of the book, the author is establishing the scene and the characters and such, but somewhere in there you start to get an idea of where the book is going. Listen, it doesn't happen in the book or in the movies, or in the series. The only thing different, whereas I like the series, is that it was good. Like, you got to get through the first 3 episodes, I would say. But it does start to give you enough. You're still gonna ask yourself, what is going on? But it's enough kind of, you know, going on where it'll keep you like going to the next one. And Hobby watched it with me too, and he was just like trying to guess, like, like, dude, you're not even, stop trying. And he figured it out when it was like episode 8 or episode 7, so it's only 10. So you get what I'm saying? Anyway, the next book is Killers of the Flower Moon, okay? So this actually is a true story. So it says, in the 1920s, the richest people per capita in the world were members of the Osage Nation in Oklahoma. After oil was discovered beneath their land, they rode in chauffeured cars and lived in mansions. Then, one by one, the Osage began to be killed. Molly Burkhart watched as her family became a prime target. Her relatives were shot and poisoned. Other Osage were, am I saying this right? Osage were also dying under mysterious circumstances, and many of those who investigated the crimes were themselves murdered. As the death toll rose, the case was taken up by the newly created FBI and its young, secretive director, J. Edgar Hoover. Struggling to crack the mystery, Hoover turned to his former Texas Ranger named Tom White, who put together an undercover team including a Native American agent. They infiltrated this last remnant of the Wild West, and together with the Osage began to expose one of the most chilling conspiracies in American history. I know this is going to be good. I don't know what order I'm going to read these, but I think, well, I'll tell you at the end. All right, so the next book, second to last, is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Okay, first of all, get into this cover. Okay, silver purple foiling. Get into it. It's so pretty, and you can like feel the letters. Actually, Ruth Weir said rich, dark, and intricately twisted. Okay, so this says, soon after her birthday, Libby Jones returns from work to find the letter she has waited for 25 years. She rips it open with one driving thought. I am finally going to know who I am. She learns not only, I'm sorry you guys, I'm looking to see if someone's coming in. She learns not only the identity of her birth parents, but also that she is the sole inheritor of their abandoned mansions on the banks of the Thames. Everything in Libby's life is about to change, but what she can't possibly know is that the others have been waiting for the day as well, and she is on a collision course to meet them. In The Family Upstairs, the master of bone-chilling suspense brings us the can't-take-away story of three entangled families living in a house with the darkest of secrets. Okay, so it's pretty much, I think, is about who's gonna get what and how much. Okay, so yeah, she actually writes a lot of really good books. I've read several other books of hers. I don't even remember the names right now, but she is a New York Times bestselling author, so there's that. All right, and so the last book is Riley Sager's The Only One Left. How fitting! It's the last book. So this book I have seen and heard spooked people out. Okay, so we're gonna see. So it says, okay, wait a minute, that's people's opinions. This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, at 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope. Now reduced to a schoolyard chant, the Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assume 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she has never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she set foot outside Hope's Inn, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. It's 1983, and home health aide Kit McDeer arrives at a decaying Hope's Inn to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can only communicate with Kit by tapping out sentences on an old, tapping. Why wouldn't that say typing? But I guess. It says Tapping. I just want to make sure I'm reading that right. One night, Lenora uses it to make a tantalizing offer. I want to tell you everything. As Kit helps Lenora write out the events leading up to the Hope family massacre, it becomes clear there's more to the tale than people know. But when the new details about her predecessor's departure comes to light, Kit starts to suspect Lenora might not be telling the complete truth, and that the seemingly harmless woman in her care could be far more dangerous than she first thought. Love. Okay, so let's see if we can kind of real quick figure out what order I'm going to read these in. Okay, so we already know that I'm reading September House now. Okay, so September is over today, so I'm not gonna get this done before tomorrow. So we're reading that now, and I think after that, so because I don't know specifically when Killers of the Flower Moon comes out in theaters, I'm going to read this next. in case hubby and I decide that we want to go see it when it comes out. So that's going to be second. And then I believe we're going to do Leaving Atlanta. And then I believe we're going to do fourth. So we're going to say fifth and sixth will be these two. Then I think we're going to do 7. And then we're going to do 8. And then we're going to do 9. And then I think I got to find 10. I think I gotta find 10. Oh, you know what? 10 is gonna be the Audible that I'm reading. So that's gonna be the Audible that I'm listening to. Never Lie. I started it yesterday, so that's number 10. So we got 10 books in October. I hope I can get through them. That is my goal. I've been trying to do 8 books a month, but the first month I really got back into reading, which was 2 months ago. I think I did 2 or 3. Last month, I actually got through 5. Yes, I got through 5. And so I feel like my reading is getting better. My ability to kind of like get through them, absorb them, all the things. My camera's about to run hot. Comprehend or whatever, because I'm reading more. I think that that's helping, to read more each month. So we're going to see how this goes. Do you guys think I can do 10 books in October? All right, I think that's my cue to go. Thank you guys for tuning in. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.